Right now, something unusual is happening in Dubai, and most people aren't talking about it. While headlines still paint the city as a luxury paradise full of endless opportunity, a quiet shift is underway. Residents are leaving. Not in small numbers, and not randomly. Entire groups of people are making the decision to relocate, often suddenly, and often without much public explanation. If you scroll through social media or speak privately with expats, a pattern starts to appear. Long-term residents who once swore they would never leave are packing up. Families are pulling children out of schools. Professionals with stable careers are choosing uncertainty elsewhere over stability in Dubai. But why? Official narratives focus on growth, development, and new investment. And those things are real. Dubai is still expanding, still building, still attracting global attention. Yet beneath that surface, everyday life is shifting in ways that aren't as visible. Costs are rising faster than many expected. Rules and policies are evolving. And for some residents, the balance that once made Dubai attractive no longer feels the same. This isn't a mass exodus in the dramatic sense. Flights aren't full of people fleeing overnight. Instead, it's quieter, slower, more personal. But that's what makes it significant. Because when people start leaving quietly, without headlines or announcements, it often means something deeper is changing. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this video. One of the biggest reasons behind this shift comes down to something simple. Money. Dubai has never been cheap, but for years, many residents felt the trade-off was worth it. High salaries, no income tax, and a certain lifestyle made the cost manageable. Now, that balance is starting to tip. Rent, in particular, has become a major pressure point. In many areas, prices have surged dramatically. Tenants who were comfortable just a couple of years ago are now facing renewals that push their budgets to the limit. Moving to cheaper areas is becoming harder as demand spreads across the city. It's not just housing. School fees, groceries, transport, and everyday expenses are all creeping up. For families, the combined effect is hard to ignore. At the same time, salaries in many industries haven't kept pace. Some residents are finding that what once felt like a financially smart move is no longer as rewarding. This creates a quiet but powerful question. Is staying still worth it? For some, the answer is still yes. But for others, especially mid-level professionals and young families, the math is no longer adding up. And when the financial pressure builds slowly, people don't always make noise about it. They just start planning their exit. Another factor that's harder to see, but just as important, is uncertainty. Dubai is known for moving fast. Rules can change quickly, and for businesses and professionals, that flexibility has often been a strength. But for residents trying to build long-term stability, it can also feel unpredictable. Visa structures, employment conditions, and regulatory changes have all evolved in recent years. While some changes are designed to attract talent and investment, not everyone benefits equally. For example, job security can feel fragile in certain sectors. If employment is lost, residency is directly affected. That link creates a constant underlying pressure, especially for expats without long-term residency options. Even with new visa programs being introduced, not everyone qualifies. And for those who don't, the future can feel uncertain. This uncertainty doesn't always lead to immediate decisions. Instead, it sits in the background. People start asking themselves what would happen if things change suddenly, and over time, that question becomes more serious and residents begin exploring alternatives. Other countries, remote work options, or even returning home start to look more appealing, not because Dubai is failing, but because personal risk is becoming harder to ignore. Dubai has always sold a certain image. Luxury, convenience, safety, and opportunity all wrapped into one fast-moving city. For many people, that image still holds true. But expectations are changing. During the past few years, global lifestyles have shifted. Remote work became more common. People started prioritizing flexibility, work-life balance, and long-term stability over constant hustle. In that context, Dubai's fast-paced, high-cost environment doesn't suit everyone anymore. Some residents feel the city has become more intense, not less. Longer work hours, higher expenses, and increased competition are changing how daily life feels. Others are simply rethinking what they want. Instead of chasing growth at all costs, they're looking for space, affordability, or a slower pace of life. This is especially true for families. Raising children in Dubai can be rewarding, but also expensive and demanding. For some parents, the idea of moving somewhere quieter and more predictable is becoming more attractive. Again, this isn't a universal experience. Many people still thrive in Dubai. But for a growing number, the lifestyle that once felt exciting now feels exhausting. And that shift in perception matters more than any single policy or price increase. What makes this situation unique is how quiet it is. There are no major announcements. No official acknowledgement of a trend. And no dramatic statistics dominating headlines. Instead, it's happening in conversations. A colleague mentions they're leaving next month. A neighbor quietly moves out. A friend decides not to renew their lease. One by one, the changes add up. This kind of relocation doesn't create noise because it's deeply personal. Each person has their own reason. For some, it's financial. For others, it's emotional or practical, and many don't talk about it publicly. There's often a sense that leaving Dubai is seen as stepping away from opportunity, so people keep their decisions private. But when enough individuals make similar choices independently, it becomes a pattern, and that pattern is what we're seeing now. Not a collapse, not a crisis, but a shift, a rebalancing of who stays, who leaves, and why. Because it's not loud or dramatic, it's easy to miss unless you're paying close attention. So what does all of this actually mean? First, it's important to be clear. Dubai isn't emptying out. It's still growing, still attracting new residents, and still playing a major role globally. But the type of resident, and their expectations, may be changing. As some people leave, others arrive. Often with different financial situations, different goals, and different tolerances for cost and risk. This creates a kind of reset for policymakers and businesses. It may highlight areas that need adjustment. For residents, it's a reminder to constantly evaluate what works for them personally, because the truth is, Dubai has always been a city of movement. People come, build, leave, and sometimes return. What's different now is the reason behind that movement feels more complex. It's not just about chasing opportunity anymore. It's about sustainability, stability, and quality of life, and those are harder to measure, but more important over time. So if people are leaving quietly, it doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong. It might simply mean priorities are changing, and that's a story worth paying attention to.